Hi, welcome to my balcony garden. We're going to talk about today.
Hi guys, today we're going to talk about seeds, planting transfer plants, and hydroponics, right? So I had bought a transfer plant. It was the transfer plant that I had bought was a red romaine lettuce. I enjoyed that plant. I ate off of it 4 or 5 times, cutting it, come and cut again. But I wanted more, and I didn't want to, you know, go back and buy another plant. So what I did was I let the plant go to seeds, gathered the seeds from the plant, and once I gathered the seeds from the plant, I used the seeds and started growing another one. So I have another one growing in my hydroponic. I will insert the picture. Also, I put some callaloo in my hydroponics on the inside, and it's growing really well. So I'm going to start cutting and come again with the callaloo, cooking it, and then let it keep growing and keep cutting it. And then I'm going to let one of them go to seeds because it never run out of seeds. Whatever you like, at least save one plant to go to seeds so you can collect the seeds, so you'll always have the seeds to plant again. Now, planting the seeds again, you'll have a lot of seeds and you'll always have seeds for that plant. But you can also promulgate that plant by cuttings. You can take a cutting off of it and put it in water, or I put it in my hydroponics, and once it starts growing roots, you can leave it in the hydroponics or you can put it in dirt and have it, another one, grow that way. Excuse me, right here. Yeah, so you can have another one grow that way by propagation. But anyway, as I was saying, you don't have to start seeds. You don't have to start plants from seeds. You can get a transfer plant started that way, and you can keep it going by propagation by cut-ins, by taking cut-ins and putting it in water. You just have to know the proper cut-ins, where to cut it. Usually you cut it, don't just cut one little leaf with a little bit of stem on it. No, you'll have to cut a little bit more than that to get it going. And once you get that going, you can repeat the process again and again and get a lot that way. But you could also let it go to seeds, sprinkle the seeds in the dirt, or put the seeds in your hydroponic system and have it grow that way. Whichever is easier, whichever is preferred. Know that gardening is not even the best gardeners mess up every now and then, everybody. So don't be afraid to mess up. It's just a learning curve, a learning experience for what you are growing for yourself. I mean, I've messed up by forgetting to water. I find I grow my plants better in the hydroponics because I forget to water my plants. That's a big thing. When your plants don't get any water, it starts drying up and dying, right? So I find that I don't have to water my hydroponics. The water stays there. All I have to do is fill up the water every couple of days, every 2 to 3 days, and sometimes 4 days, depending on how big the plants are and how much it's drinking. And then you put in your fertilizer once a week and you're good to go. Depending on your time, you can adjust your growing to your time. If you're growing plants, and also area, a lot of people do not have space. Well, with hydroponics, all you have to do is clear a corner in your house, put that tower there, or clear some counter space for the desktop hydroponics, right? And then you can start growing. Start growing whatever you like. You can grow it in the hydroponics. If it gets too big for the hydroponics, then transfer it to dirt. Transfer the plant to dirt, or take a cutting from it and start growing the cuttings. I mean, you'll find out how easy and abundance planting is, and how much you can save off your grocery bills. You can plant stuff that you eat, and use that, cut that. You don't have to buy that, so you cut it off your grocery bill, right? Which is a good thing. Lower bills. Who doesn't want lower bills? So I say that to say you can grow if you don't have a balcony and you just have a regular apartment and you have a sunny window, put your hydroponic tower there. Now I'm going to insert a picture of the tower I bought. I bought it from Temu. I was kind of skeptical because I don't usually buy anything from Temu, but the reason why I bought this tower from Temu, which I'm going to insert the picture, this tower is $250 on Amazon, and it was selling for $99 on Temu. I'll see if I can insert both pictures, both comparison. And it was a great deal. It might not come with with some of the accessories the $250 tower is, but the accessories you can buy separately, and they will cost you like what, $32 or something like that. You do the math. Just, take a look at Temu for tower gardens. It's a lot cheaper than Amazon. It may take a little longer to get to you. As for the tariffs, look for a local seller, right? But it's usually a lot cheaper. I'm just saying, right? I mean, I didn't know if something happened how I would return it, but it came fine, nothing was wrong, and I saved $150, right? My other tower I bought from Amazon, I don't know, it was a smaller tower than the one I'm going to show you I bought for $99. It was a smaller tower. It cost me $150, and it came with lights. But that tower that cost me $150 is not as big as the one I paid $99 for on Temu. The sun is getting in my eye. Yeah, so the tower that I had gotten from Temu was a lot cheaper than the one, $250 from Amazon. That's $150 I saved. That is a bargain, right? And I enjoy growing out of the tower garden, but you can do the regular conventional garden too. It's just that the tower garden is a lot faster. Things will pop up quicker and grow faster. What you do within 4 weeks in the garden will be 2 weeks in the tower garden. That's how fast the tower garden is, and it doesn't take much work. Once a week, you put in the fertilizer, and you make sure every 3 days that it has enough water in it. That's about it. Plant it and forget it, and then come to the tower and cut what you need. Cut off what you need. My tower, the one inside, needs to be pruned, the smaller one. I have cucumber growing at the bottom, and the cucumber had gotten kind of out of hand. I thought I was going to get a lot of cucumbers, but I ended up with 2, but that's fine. I just need to cut it back. It's still growing and probably will grow more cucumbers, so that is fine. One of them did not grow as long like a cucumber. It grew round like a pumpkin. And the reason for that being is pollination. If you're going to grow things inside, you have to make sure you know how to pollinate it, if it needs pollination or if it doesn't. If it needs pollination, you got to make sure you know how to pollinate it. Yeah, so you can go on YouTube University and, research how to pollinate certain things. What I did was I pollinated. There was so many blooms on my cucumber, and I went around trying to pollinate all of them, but it was a lot of blooms. So what happened was I missed one, and that was the one that turned to fruit, and it turned round like a pumpkin instead of long like a cucumber. Also have another one that I did pollinate that turned like a cucumber, the shape of a cucumber. So I will insert those pictures also. But I say to say this: you can grow almost anything in the tower garden. Right now, I have a mango seed to see if I could start it in the tower garden so it could grow quicker, and then I can put it into the dirt to plant. You could always start things off in your um, hydroponics and then transfer it to dirt, or vice versa. Buy your starter plants, wash off the roots, and put it in your hydroponic system. Put whatever you want in dirt. You're not forced to do anything in gardening. You can even experiment. You know, a lot of things you can try to see what the outcome is, which is very nice. And getting back to nature is great. It is really great, right? After a while, you'll know exactly what your plants need to survive, and you'll be a pro in no time. Like I said, with the tower garden, keep the vines at the bottom, the bigger plants around at the bottom, and as you go up, the smaller plants to the top. I like to put my strawberries on top. Like I said, I've always had a problem of growing strawberries in the dirt, but I never had a problem growing it in the hydroponic system. It'll grow and it'll bloom, which is fine. So I had one that was really big in my hydroponic system, which I took out and put it into dirt, and it seems to be doing well, right? So let's see if it'll bloom strawberries in the dirt. But I'm just here to tell you, everybody fails at gardening one time or another. So don't feel bad if you plant something and it went haywire. Just do it again. Just do it again. Try again. You know, nobody likes to fail doing anything. But if we keep trying, we'll get it right. And just know you could cut a lot of stuff, like I said, off your grocery bill growing your own food. And what happens if the grocery store closes down tomorrow? What would you do for fresh fruits or vegetables? If you have your own garden, you don't have to worry about it. You just go ahead and pick it off of your hydroponic tower, or out if you have a little garden on your balcony. If you're always find a corner in your apartment or a little space on your counter to put a desktop hydroponic system. You can start off with that. That is real easy. It comes with everything in it, and it's not that expensive. You can start off with that and then move up to the tower. But like I said, with a tower, it's best to plant the vines at the bottom, the larger plants going up, and the smaller plants at the top. Just know that the smaller plants will get a lot of water, which will grow a lot quicker than the other plants. So I just came on here just to talk a little bit about gardening. And you can get seeds and continue on. You could double by propagating. There's many ways to keep the garden going without buying more plants of the kind you eat, right? You could also start experimenting by buying, after you get your garden established, you can start trying other stuff to grow to see if you like it or not. And if you do, you keep it. If you don't, you just don't grow any more of it, right? And if you have a garden with dirt, it's good to have it's good to have compost. Composting is good. It enriches the dirt so that if you grow in containers, and let's say you move a plant to a bigger container, you have the compost mixed in with the dirt where the plant can feed off of it. There's many ways. There's a cheap way to do a compost. I live in an apartment and I have a balcony, so I don't do compost here. I bought it was a little expensive, but I got the compost machine, a machine that will turn my scraps into compost. I got that on sale. I wait for like Black Friday or one of those sales, and I got it fairly cheap because I noticed most of them run around 200 to 250. I got mine for one something, 125 I believe it was. But that was because I got it on sale. So if you're buying stuff like that, look for the sales. But like I said, Temu, which I never looked on Temu, I never bought anything from Temu until I bought that tower. Now I'll start checking Temu for certain things, right? I never had any problem. It came on time. I'm also looking into getting from my tower garden a solar pump. So that way, if the lights go off, my stuff will still grow because I have a solar pump. So I'm looking into that also. That's just some food for thought. For thoughts, you know, if you have your tower, one of my towers is on my balcony, so if I put a solar pump on it, it'll do fine because the sun comes in on my balcony, right? So yeah, there's some tips and tricks. Don't get discouraged about starting a garden if you're just starting. Go ahead and do it. There's nothing like taking the first step. Once you get it going, you'll do more plants. Even if you do one plant and you're able to reap the benefits from that plant, you will go ahead and do more plants and more plants and more plants. It just comes in like number one, it comes in like a habit, but the plants are calming. Somehow they seem to calm my spirit. They might be able to calm your spirit also, but yeah, just start it. And like I said, you don't have to be perfect. We all make mistakes, but then eventually you get to be good at it, right? All right. So this is from Gardening with a Budget. Yeah, my balcony garden. Have a great day.